Hey guys, welcome back to Ace Recaps. Today I'm going to be explaining a 2020 Korean horror mystery film titled The Call. The movie starts off in the year 2019, where we are introduced to the protagonist of the film, Kim Seo-Yeon. She is on her way to her childhood home as her mom is suffering from terminal cancer. Even though her mother is on her last stand, Kim can't seem to forgive her for the death of her father. She leaves abruptly, and on the way she realizes that she left her phone on the train and proceeds to look for one in her abandoned home. She receives a call from a young woman named Young-Sook who claims that she lives in the same house as Kim. They assume that it's a wrong number and the call ends. That night as Kim sleeps, we see burn marks on her legs indicating a traumatic past. She wakes up to a loud bang and follows the sound. As she couldn't figure it out, she decides to hang up an old family portrait. She realizes the wall behind is hollow as the nail falls straight to the ground. We hear knocking from the other side of the wall, and so Kim decides to break it down. She walks down a creepy stairway, only to find a kid's room and an old diary. In it, she finds a picture of a young woman. She asks the local farmer about it and gets to know that back in the day, an exorcist lived in that house along with her daughter. Not knowing anything more or even having the decency to do a Google search, the girl goes back home and stares down the rabbit hole. She suddenly gets a call from Young, who claims that her mother is about to set her on fire and cries for help. We are then taken back to the year 1999. In the house, we watch as Young is chased down an alley by her mother. She performs a nasty spell on the poor girl, and in the present Kim notices ancient symbols burning on the staircase. That night, Young calls back the same number and they find out that they are living in the same house 20 years apart by checking up on the last sentence in her diary. She even goes on to tell Young about a plane crash that's going to happen that very night. As she eats dinner with her mother, the both of them get into a spat. As she ties her hair, we watch the news where a plane crashed not far from there. The entire night the both of them spend time getting to know each other. Kim tells her about all the crazy new inventions mankind has come up with, and she even lets her listen to her favorite band on Korean YouTube. The both of them share past traumas, and we realize that when Kim was just a child, she lost her father due to her mother's negligence. The whole house caught on fire as she was busy painting her nails. This is why she still hasn't forgiven her. Young, on the other hand, seems like a very innocent and eager to learn kinda child. Kim notices that was the date she stopped writing in her diary, but before she could say anything about it, Young cuts the call as her mom was about to show up. The next morning, we watch as a family comes to the mansion, looking to buy it. When they request to see the girl's room, we realize that it's Kim's family. She lets her listen to her dad's voice one last time and tells her that she's going to try and save his life. She proceeds to sneak out of her house, and in young Kim's home we see the cooker about to pop and the family doing its day-to-day tasks. Just before we could see what happened, Kim gets a call from her cell phone which she left on the train the previous day. Her entire reality crumbles and transforms in an alternate reality. Here the house is in amazing condition and she's dressed like a Barbie doll. She runs into the greenhouse where she sees her mother free from cancer and her dad still living, cracking one of his lame dad jokes. She cries and hugs him out of joy, but the family is all confused. Kim thanks her for fixing her family and repays her by letting her record a song of her favorite band that isn't even out yet. As days go by, the both of them become best of friends. She leaves her cookies buried in the backyard, reads her books and even draws her hand in her closet. A few more days go by and the two girls slowly fall out of sync as all do. One night she's busy barbecuing and another she's at the local theater with her family. Kim is seen chomping down on the heads of red gummy bears and we realize that this chick is psycho. She calls up Kim and we hear her screeching and yelling curse words at her best friend for abandoning her. The girl gets pulled away by her mother and Kim is warned never to call her again as everyone she gets close to dies. Young is then tied to a chair and a brutal exorcism is performed. She beats her own daughter until she starts trembling on the ground. Quite some parenting style, some may say. The genius girl finally decides to Korean Google her friend and finds out that her mother unalives her the very next day during an exorcism. The following day, Kim anxiously waits for the call and finally warns her that she's going to be unalived by her mother that night. As she sleeps, her mother walks in with a dagger and with a heavy heart stabs her multiple times, only to be surprised that it's her pillows. Young sneaks up from the back and is staggered that her mom could do such a thing. The mother reveals that she did it for the good of society, as her stars say that she's the reason for many deaths in her lifetime. Young then proceeds to stab the woman multiple times, freeing her from the wrath of her wretched mother. Young, finally an independent woman, gets to roam around the town as and when she'd like, eats whatever she wants and dresses however she pleases. A few days go by. Young and the local farmer have grown fond of each other. She invites him over to have dinner with her family. Back in the year 1999, the young gardener is seen delivering fruits to Young's home. She invites him and tries to hit on the man, but he just ignores her and continues to stack the produce in the refrigerator. He is taken a step back by the nasty stench, only to find her mother's body chopped up into pieces. He freaks out and is unalived by the horrid teenager. Back in the present, Kim is distracted by a call. She rushes upstairs only to hear screams and cries from her beloved. She doesn't think much of this but later finds out that her boyfriend was never there. She is surprised, so she rushes to his house and sees that his greenhouse has been torn apart as it has not been maintained for 20 years. When she inquires at the local police station, she finds out that he was murdered 20 years ago by Young. A grief-stricken Kim goes back home and accuses Young of murdering an innocent man. Young just turns the tables on her and claims that she can do whatever she wants as she saved her father's life, and demands that she is made aware of how the cops tracked her down or she's going to end her father's life again. Not knowing what to do, Kim cuts the call and disappears. On the other hand, a distressed Young is seen losing her mind and keeps calling her every now and then until one fine day, young Kim and her father come to visit the house looking to discuss the purchase price. She invites them in and with an evil grin on her face, unalives the man by smothering him with a fire extinguisher. In the present, Kim is being taught to drive a car by her father. He's so proud of his little girl until suddenly he stops responding. The car shatters and her reality crumbles and transforms in a third alternate reality where she's lost her father and her boyfriend. This is exactly why we don't try to play with time travel. She wakes up in the middle of the highway and rushes home only to find it completely trashed, as though no one lived there for 20 years. She calls her up again and tells her about how she enjoyed unaliving her father as he wiggled on the floor like a chicken with its head cut off. Kim screams in pain, but Young threatens her life as she still has young Kim with her. She threatens to end her whole existence as well as her mother's if she doesn't help her escape the police. Kim half-heartedly agrees and tracks down old articles of the case and tells her that she gets caught by her fingerprints on a dagger and tries to set a trap for Young by giving her directions to a place where an explosion will happen at 5 p.m. Unfortunately, Young survives and takes her revenge on young Kim by pouring boiling water on her. In the present, she screams with pain as her body develops scars that were previously not there. Young tells her the truth about what happened the day she saved her father's life. Her mother remembered to switch off the gas and leave for work. It was young Kim who switched it back again after watching something on the TV. All those years she blamed her mom for the death of her father when in fact it was her all along. Having no other option to save her mother's life, Kim breaks into the local police station, goes through the old police files and finally figures out who got their hands on the dagger. She tells Young about a homeless man who found the dagger and she tracks him down, retrieves the evidence and unalives the homeless man as well. In 2019, Kim's reality changes for the third time. She's now in the same house surrounded by refrigerators stuffed with unalived people, meaning that in the present, Young resides in the same house and has been unaliving people for the past 20 years. She is miserable that her actions caused the death of so many innocent people and she runs out of the house to get away from the crazy serial killer. She then notices the police diary which reads that her mom will visit that very home with a police officer looking for her daughter, but will leave after her mom used the cordless phone. She realizes that her mom is going to use the phone any moment now, so she sneaks back into the house and finds the device. In 1999, Kim's mother along with a police officer look around the house for any signs of her daughter and husband. She requests to use the phone to call them up, and just then Kim tells her mother to get out of the house immediately. Without having much time, Young unalives the officer and her mother manages to barricade herself in one of the rooms. In the present, 40-year-old Young attacks Kim, but she manages to get away with the phone and hides in the same room as her mother. She hears her child crying outside the door and not being able to help herself, runs out to protect the little girl. Just before she's about to slice them up, her motherly instincts kick in. She catches the blade with her bare hands and the both of them fall off the balcony and seemingly lose their life. In the present, just before Young gets to Kim, her reality changes for the fourth time. The house is in ruins again and Young passed away 20 years ago thanks to her mother. In a shock, Kim rushes to the hospital to apologize to her terminally ill mother only to find her missing. She figures that she must have passed away the same day and looks for her tombstone. As she tears up in front of her dad, her mom shows up all alive and well. Kim is happy to see her mom again, in good shape as she survived the fall. The way her mom saved little Kim's life gave them the right motivation to go on in life despite the father's death, and now live a happy life. The movie ends as Young's alternate reality is unveiled. She in fact manages to unalive Kim in 2019 and gets her hands on the phone. She warns her past self about what's going to happen and even though she falls off the balcony, she still manages to survive. In Young's present, Kim's mom disappears and she's been a prisoner for the past 20 years in the same house and is taken care of by the evil serial killer. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like the video please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.